Hello, this review is on the movie Falling Down. So the plot of this movie is this man named William Foster, played by Michael Douglas, is an unemployed former weapons defense dealer, and he gets stuck in traffic, and he develops a really strong rage. So he walks out along the road, and he has a problem with basically everything in the world. He hates construction. He hates the economy, how the economy works. He hates how consumerism works, how people run their businesses, how how prices how prices are work in certain businesses, and he gets really really eccentric, and he gets extremely violent, carrying a bag of guns with him. So he creates a bunch of terror all across the city while he's trying to get to get to his ex-wife's house for his daughter's birthday party. So he does get into a lot of trouble while he does talk to her every now and then on the payphone. But the whole thing is that tries to he tries to get to his daughter's birthday party while coming across a lot of obstacles along the way, and having a bunch of anger in him cause a whole bunch of terror throughout, while a cop played by Robert Duvall tries to chase him down. This is a interesting movie, and I mean that in a good way, because this movie, you know how I said in my review of Dream Scenario, it's like I said, Dream Scenario was kind of a funny, silly movie, but also weirdly smart. This one kind of does the same thing, although a little differently. This movie isn't a comedy. Well, I mean, it is a funny movie, I think. Well, but it's never advertised as a comedy. Like, if you look up this movie, when they say the genres, it's always just thriller or drama or stuff. It's never comedy. But weirdly enough, I think this movie's pretty funny. And maybe because I don't have the most normal sense of humor. So I found this movie really funny, actually. Like, the idea of seeing a man having a grudge against how society progresses, and how businesses, the economy, and even uh, how civilization works, and how he gets so defensive over it, and he really wants his rights as an American citizen. Because that's the whole thing about this movie. He always uses the defense that I have my right as an American citizen for such and such, and that's really what makes it funny. It feels very much like a satirical piece of people being so defensive over how businesses and society um, want you to have your handle your rights to a certain limit. So I think it's really smart in that regard. Like, it kind of shows how crazy some people can get. Like I said, like in the movie, he does a whole bunch of crazy things. Like, he could, when he's stuck in a traffic jam, he rages so hard he literally just walks out of his car, and he just throughout the whole movie he just carries his briefcase, which is pretty funny. He goes to this one burger restaurant, and he gets so upset that they stop serving breakfast that he just attempts to, you know, cause a riot. And he gets so upset over the prices at a certain store he just destroys the store. It's a crazy film, and it's you could say it's cheesy, and yeah, the movie is kind of cheesy for the most part, but I feel it's pretty much intended to be that way. It's very aware of how crazy it is. It's kind of like that what was that movie that came out a couple years ago, that one with Russell Crowe, Unhinged. That's what it was. It's kind of like that movie, although this movie I feel kind of works a bit better, because Unhinged was meant to be a serious movie, and it kind of was unintentionally cheesy. I mean, I thought it was a fun movie, but I kind of found it a little silly. This movie I think is silly, and it's intended to be. Like, it's very smart if you really have the right mindset for it, because I mean, it like I said, you if you ever like see this movie, like, it never lists comedy as one of the genres, and I think you really need to have a certain style of humor to find this movie funny, and you really need to have an enjoyment of black comedy and satire to really get some laughs out of this movie. But it also works as a drama film as well, because the main character is flawed, but you also really feel sad for him because the fact that he's lonely, he's unemployed, and he just wants to see his daughter, and his ex-wife is scared of him, it kind of makes you feel sad for him. So it weirdly works as a drama too when it needs to be. So it kind of feels like a psychological thriller drama hybrid that's just disguised as a popcorn flick. Like this is very much feels like a popcorn flick, even though I mean it's not like a blockbuster or anything. There's no huge special effects or anything. And there's like a few explosions and you know some action and stuff, but there isn't really a lot of big over the top action in this movie. I mean, okay, the scenarios are over the top, but it's not all. They don't go all out, but it's a fun movie, and Michael Douglas's performance is really what sells this movie. I think, I don't think I've ever seen Michael Douglas play like a really insane character. I mean, I've seen him in a good amount of movies, and most of the characters he plays are relatively normal. I I think he could do good with more psychotic roles. I mean, I don't want all of his stuff to be like that. I don't want him to be a one-trick pony that just wants to repeat his success for Falling Down. But I think his performance is what really sells it. And Robert Duvall, who's always a great actor, who doesn't like Robert Duvall? He was definitely great to see as the cop. I do really him and Michael Douglas don't really have a lot of scenes together. In fact, Michael Douglas doesn't really have any scenes with like much of the side characters because most of it's just him going place to place while everybody else is reporting him. Because every once in a while in the movie, it cuts to the police force just reporting about all the incidents he's causing. But there's nothing wrong with that because you actually want to see this guy going all throughout town and just like go nuts. You want to see him. You don't just want to see him run into guys and running away from them. You want to see Williams' descent into madness and him going all out. So it's weirdly a silly movie that's also kind of smart. And Joel Schumacher actually directed this one. Yeah, the late director who, yeah, say what you will about his Batman movies. I mean, I haven't seen Batman Forever in a super long time. I don't know if it holds up, but Batman and Robin, we don't talk about that one. But yeah, his Batman movies aside, he was just supposed to make those movies the way they were. This movie, I think I should check out more of Schumacher's stuff because I think this movie was weirdly really good and it's not amazing. Sorry, I got a battery warning. Yeah, like I said, it's nothing amazing. You could say it's a little, artsy fartsy with all its themes it tries to show about how road rage and and consumerism defense and just how rage filled people can be. But it kind of does in a way where it's funny enough and it also kind of depressing enough because it could get pretty emotional at times where you really feel for the main character. So yeah, Falling Down, it's a funny, emotional, thrilling, kind of cheesy movie. It really has it all. And if a movie can leave you with so much feelings, then it's got to be a movie worth remembering. So I really applaud this movie for that. So if you want to, if you're a fan of Michael Douglas, or if you want to see a really insane movie that has a lot of messages, I think it's worth checking out. It's nowhere near a masterpiece, but I do think it's a really fun film, and I think it kind of does have a cult following. It is sometimes brought up under Joel Schumacher discussions, but I think it's definitely a movie that needs a little more recognition. I think it's really funny and really smart and also really has a lot to say. So it's a movie that does it all, and while it's nothing amazing, it's just good enough. So yeah, Falling Down, if you haven't seen it, I'd say give it a watch. It won't bore you. It's pretty exciting at times and also can be unintentionally funny, or maybe it is intentionally. I don't know. So yeah, so that's my review of Falling Down. So take care.